Do you want to lick a lot of puss?
What? Do I want to lick a lot of puss?
It's a joke. What do you call a lesbian dinosaur? Lick a lot of puss.
From the Dank Studios at 3835 Elm Street in Denver, Colorado, the Cannabis Community Project presents Beyond Sanity with Becca B-Trip, a podcast about wellness, life, and cannabis.
Another good thing this week, I met a friend of mine and she was telling me how we need 8 hugs a day. 8 hugs a day. And I thought, I wonder if I get 8 hugs a day.
Well, there you go. You know, as they say, touch is one of the greatest healing components.
Right. I absolutely believe that touch is part of our health.
Well, that's a proven fact. Beginning of the century, babies used to be separated at birth from their parents. They were told by their parents, don't give a lot of touch and affection to kids because that would somehow stunt their growth emotionally or physically. It was actually a prescribed medical thing to not be affectionate and touching with your kids.
Well, you know, I definitely can tell because I have 4 children and I can definitely tell I'm not as touchy with my older kids.
We better edit that around so it sounds a little different. But
Together, let's move on.
Let's agree that touch is important in the healing process. I look forward to conversations with you.
Yes.
This is our first official co-host as we parlay this into a second show.
Yes.
So we're getting more and more airtime for you.
I know. And I appreciate you. I'm grateful for the opportunity to explore.
I'm looking forward to it because I think what we have lined up and the type of show we're going to put together is going to be unique, exciting. It's going to get people on the edge of their seats and maybe a little uncomfortable at times.
I hope so. I think that's where we grow the most is in the uncomfortable spaces.
Yes. I try to make you uncomfortable as much as possible.
I know, and you totally do. Yeah. So we're going to be visiting the 5 big areas of our life, which are health, love, relationships, career.
Well, these will be the conversations that will be explored. And it's all about wellness.
Right. And this encompasses how I believe our homeostasis is in our life or how we feel balanced in our life. And when one of those big 5 gets out of balance, most likely you've got another one out of balance because how we do one thing in one area, we do it in everything. And it's potential that you can be out of whack in all 5, right? That's just complete chaos. And so I really want to focus on how somebody can actually bring homeostasis back into their life by just staying put.
So that's an intro to what we'll be talking about in our show. Have we come up with an official name yet? I sent you a couple ideas. Did you look at them?
Yeah, and I didn't like them. I hated
None of them. All right.
Well, because I really liked the Journey into Wellness, but then I did that.
It's taken, though.
I know.
So
I'm trying to think about something. I'm like,
what about just into the wellness?
Sounds creepy. Like into the
abyss,
beyond,
into
like
the mystic.
I think of like Bed Bath and Beyond, and Family Guy always makes fun. I always want to go in the Beyond section.
Beyond wellness.
I love it.
Yes.
Beyond wellness.
All right, let's look that up when we get home.
Or beyond dieting, or beyond.
The dieting kind of brings the
I
rhythm.
know.
It's like it was so nice and smooth. The beyond and the beyond dieting.
But I want it to be beyond this insanity of
beyond insanity.
Oh, yes.
Or what's another word for beyond? And we'll use the word like passing insanity. Or
because the thing is, I think what I've been trying to do is like I've been trying to live this life that I think I'm supposed to live. Right? Like you're supposed to do this and you're supposed to do that. But the thing is, if I just stop focusing on all what everybody's telling me to do and just do for me, I feel unstoppable. And Rose called me last night that I was super mom.
Who's Rose?
My daughter.
Your daughter.
And
How old is she?
She's 8. And she said, I know what you should be for Halloween, Mom. You should be super mom.
Oh.
She's like, you can pick whatever color you want. And
did you cry? Can we look forward to any crying on your podcast?
Oh, a lot.
Good.
Yes.
I love crying podcasts.
You're being sarcastic.
That'll be my part on the podcast.
Yes, when it gets too emotional, you can always pull me in.
Beyond sanity.
Yeah, because what you think you're doing is supposed to be the same way.
But it's about not just finding the balance of what's acceptable and what's normal and what's sane.
Yeah.
But trying to go beyond that to the wellness of exploring the happiness, not just what do you need to be healthy,
but what do you need to be happy?
Go beyond that.
Happiness is more than how much I weigh and how many friends I have. How much income? What are your kids doing? It's like my happiness isn't.
That's just sanity.
Yeah.
So let's go beyond sanity.
Yeah, I like it.
All
beyond
right.
Sanity.
Beyond sanity. So there you go. Look forward to it. Beyond sanity.
All right. I like it. Thanks for joining us.
Exactly. But now we have to picture it like this, all right? So imagine we're coming out of a music intro. So when you say welcome, say it like you're standing in front of a crowd of 5,000 people, and the band behind you is jamming the song, and it's fading down, and you're walking up to the microphone, and you're saying...
I got you. I got it. Yeah, that was awesome. I love that song.
No,
That's awesome.
don't say it like that.
Thanks. This is great. By the end of the show, I was wet. Well, my show is not a family show.
Look at me.
Okay.
And let's do it as a conversational. Put the
Okay.
microphone nice in front of you. Give me your hands. Give me both hands.
Ooh.
You got to be right up on it for it to actually carry
Right
through.
up on it.
Give me your hands.
Get down on it. Okay, I'm ready. I need to see the
No. You're going to repeat.
Oh.
I'm directing you.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us this week. I'm Becca B-Trip.
As the host, it is your job to accomplish a couple things. To move the show along, right? To move it along. In other words, to know where you're going with it. And to know where you're at.
Chipmunk smile.
All right, give me a hand. So, as the host, your job is to move the show along, which means know where you're going with it. Extract information from the person you're speaking to, but not just information. What you have to do is assume all the other questions have been asked, right? So when somebody comes in who's from a company, like any company here, you got to assume they've been asked all the basic questions. So kind of skip those or just summarize for them, right? Just summarize for them so you can get directly to asking questions that most people have not asked or would not ask. And a lot of getting people to talk, you know, this is the way I do it. I first ask them to talk about their business because most people are comfortable with that. Start with your business, what you do. Once they talk about their business and they're more relaxed, then I come in and start hitting them with more personal things, non-business related stuff. Where did you come from? How did you get here? You know, what happened specifically to take you from point A to point B? You know, because they're more relaxed now.
We'll just say I'm Becca. I'm a 42-year-old mother of 4, been married 3 times, and I'm creating this vision of 424 Play. I started in the corporate world, big corporation world, when I was 23-ish, trying to go to school and waitress and trying to pay my own bills was tough. And I'm going to be very open about certain things. I was with a married man for a while, and he took care of me financially. And then his wife found out about us, but he loved me, and so he wouldn't give me up, but I gave him up because I couldn't do it. I did have a threesome with that couple. Chris in a drunken state. Of course, I didn't get to enjoy that, but I liked it. I remember liking the experience, just wishing it was a little bit different. But here nor there, we broke up, essentially. My choice to get out of that crazy thing. And I had to get a job because I didn't have my sugar daddy anymore, right? So I started down this corporate world working, got a job at Merrill Lynch. I didn't even know what Merrill Lynch was then at the age of 22 or 23. Yeah. And I got married for the second time. By that time, I was already married and divorced before I was the age of 21. I started at Merrill Lynch hoping that I would get out of Colorado. Like, my family had left. My mom had gone to New Mexico. She got remarried. My sister was in Dallas. My dad lives near Steamboat, so I didn't have any immediate family. So I'm like, oh, you know what? I'll work at Merrill Lynch for a year. I can go to Florida or to New Jersey, and, I'll at least be able to move and have a job and be financially secure. Well, I got pregnant with my first child, who then I would marry my second husband. And for me, that getting pregnant was a huge sign, I got to get settled down. My second husband, I really fell in love with his family because I missed my family. I didn't necessarily ever want to be with my second husband. He pursued me forever, and I rejected him a lot, but he was always there, somebody reliable. And his family, I absolutely loved his family. And I still love his family. So I got pregnant. For me, it was a sign I needed to get my crap together, get settled down, stop this partying or whatever, being a kid, and got married, 6 months pregnant. But this was a sign. This is where my destiny is. And I became a mom, and I'm still in Colorado. Well, anyways, that's that story. Let me go back for that. Was 17 years ago, 18 years ago now. I mean, my son's 17, but when I got pregnant, 18 years ago. And then that marriage was doomed from the beginning because we should have never got married. But we were meant to be together to have the family that I have today. It was meant to give my second husband children, and his family is my family. So I couldn't have the family I have without their support. So anyways, I had a second kid with him, even though we split up like umpteen times in that marriage. I wanted to have another child, and I wanted to have a child with the same person I had my first child with, because I always told myself I was going to have 2 baby daddies. I'm not going to be that girl. Oh, remember when I said at the beginning I have 4 children. So I got pregnant with my second child completely out of selfish reasons. And then I got my shit together more at work. I got my Series 7, my Series 63, blah, 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 stuff licensing for the financial world to kind of move on in my career and be more financially secure with myself, so I didn't need to be with somebody. So Chris and I split. I started having an affair. Shocker. And yeah, that ended. And then I was single. I was 29, 2 children, 2 divorces. I'm like, this is it. Freedom. And then I met Willie. Am I boy crazy? I met Willie at Charles Schwab. So again, as I've been advancing in my career, or how I thought I would support myself and my family, I took a risk. I quit the job that I was in Colorado Springs, hoping to find something else because I was pretty miserable in that job. I was working out of this guy's basement. And being a single mother, I mean, Chris and I weren't together anymore, so I was supporting the kids by myself. I mean, obviously he supported, but I got a job at Charles Schwab, so I got a job in Denver. And I always say it was destiny that we were together, because when I interviewed, they offered me the position, and I didn't think it was enough money for the drive, because I was going to have to commute from Colorado Springs to Denver. And that scared me. So I declined the job. And then I picked up another job in Colorado Springs, and it was horrible. And I remember calling my ex-husband, telling him I made this huge mistake. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I called Charles Schwab's back and said, I want to take that job. Is that job still open? And so they interviewed me again, and they offered me the job. And I met Willie working there. He was my trainer on the same team. The only reason I wanted to be with him was to have sex with him. It wasn't for a relationship by any means. I flirted with him for almost 2 months. He was intriguing to me. So he always talked about the ladies, like the ladies love to play on the playground. And I'm like, what has this guy got that he's like this player? So I had to see what it was. And I think he wanted to see too. He's like, who's this girl who's been married twice? And then there was an engagement in there. So I was married once. I had almost an engagement, and another marriage all in my 20s. So basically what I thought was just having fun, sex. He kind of got there in my soft spot, and I fell head over and heels in love with him, and I wanted to be with him. And it was a pursuit for me to him. I felt he wanted to have children. So I knew that if our relationship was going to continue, I needed to have children. And the other thing for him, for his relationship to grow with me, he had to accept the fact that I had 2 children. I think that was hard for him. I don't think when people envision who they're going to end up with, like, because I think that's the problem, maybe not the problem, is we think about our happily ever after and who's our Prince Charming, or maybe at the age I grew up in. I didn't grow up with the happily ever after, but I saw it everywhere. And so I just figured if I had everything right, I don't know. And I guess maybe I thought I was in a man. Really, the start of the down was I got a job offer in Atlanta in 2012, and they were going to give me a substantial amount of money. And I declined the job first, and then they wanted me so bad. They're like, I want you to sit down with your husband and find out what it would take to get you guys to move down. And my husband wouldn't talk to me. We didn't even talk about it. And at that moment, I just lost faith in our relationship, because I didn't think he'd support me and my wants and my needs. So at that point, I had started trying to get healthy again, try to lose weight. So I just pretty much buried myself in that, getting my shit together around my weight and my eating, and bury myself into my work. And so I really just pushed full hard into grow my career here in Colorado. And I buried myself right into the ground. I burned myself out. I drank way too much. I wasn't taking care of myself. And we were to the point of getting divorced. At this point, I'd been having extracurricular activities when I would travel. And I just felt like a horrible person. I was so unhappy. So that's what brought me to cannabis. I started with my drinking. I didn't want to drink. I guess I feel like when I went out for social, it was always drink to at least buzz, if not drunk, if not 10, 15,000 drinks. That's exaggerating, but and it wasn't conducive with my life. I was tired all the time, hung over, trying to take care of 4 kids. I tried not to let it disrupt my life, but trying to get days that I was hungover, trying to just get through the workday or the weekend, I would use cannabis instead. So I would use cannabis first. I was still new to cannabis. I didn't even know a thing about it. I was just trying it. So I bought some stuff like a vape pen, like a disposable vape pen, maybe a couple joints, some flour, an edible. That's kind of what I took away at the very first dispensary, and then I consumed that first for having a drink. So I noticed I didn't drink as much, and my hangovers the next day weren't as much. So when I did have a social night where we were going out, I would always consume cannabis before we would go out. To stop drinking, it took probably just shy of a year and a half. And the reason I finally gave up the drink altogether wasn't not necessarily because I felt it was an issue anymore. It was because I was so sick from a digestion perspective that I had to take out sugar. And that means I had to fully commit to at least remove it for a temporary amount of time. Now, it didn't mean forever, because at that point I was able to go to social events and have a drink. Like I could enjoy a cocktail now with people. I could actually be social with it because I use cannabis as my recreational now. But now I would have a drink if there was one, like if it was a social. Other than that, I wasn't drinking at home anymore. It would only be when we went out or I was out. I started the career change about a year from the time I started using cannabis. That's when I met Healthy Heady Lifestyle. I was already starting to look to see what I could do without moving. So this has been another thing, is basically pick up and move to another state and continue my career growth. But I know not to even go down that path because my husband wouldn't move. And then the thing is even move even a logical point, which I appreciate that. I think let's just go. We'll figure out how we can get there. And he thinks, well, is it worse to move or better to stay, or vice versa? So the cannabis had been helping me so much, and it's legal now at that point for years. And I said, well, why don't I go check it out and see what it's all about? And he said, yeah, I should do it. Thinking I could bring my equity comp skills to the marijuana world. My vice president, senior implementation title. And now I'm sitting here talking 424 play. Basically, I met Healthy Heady, and they were my springboard, right? I fell in love with the company. I fell in love with them. I think they saw me as me before I even knew it, like the authentic me. I mean, I was 80 pounds heavier when they met me. I barely knew anything about cannabis, and I have not been successful at direct sales. So when they asked me to be the first consultant in Colorado, I was like, what are they thinking? I always think about the Lego movie. I know what you're thinking. I am the least qualified person to lead this charge. But anyways, so I immersed myself in the cannabis industry, basically part-time. And whenever I wasn't at work or doing something with the kids, I have a great family. I've got a great husband and a great ex-husband, and I got great kids. So I'm able to get myself out right when I start this new journey. But I'm still working full-time, and I have a very stressful, many hours job. And so I was trying to do all of that for about 6 months. And then finally I came to my breaking point. My husband had hip surgery. He was actually home with me. I worked pretty much from home all the time because my stress levels were so high. Couldn't go to the office. I'd be too emotional. I couldn't handle meetings. So I'd be at home, and plus I was pretty sick with digestion issues. So it was nice to be home, close to home. So it was just comforting. So Willie was home for hip surgery for 3 or 4 weeks. And so he finally got to see me in action and saw how miserable I was. And he said I could quit, not having anything as a backup plan. So I quit. And within a couple of weeks of not actually going to the office, I thought my marriage was going to be over because we were so bad. He's like, you can't even get out of bed. I know, I haven't been able to get out of bed for over a year. I don't know what's wrong with me. He's like, you quit your job, you should be ecstatic. But yeah, I quit my job, and I made the most amount of money, and that was a lot of stress. And now my marriage is falling apart and I have nowhere to go. I feel trapped. So as I started to improve my health, so I took sugar out in October last year, I started feeling better. I couldn't believe how good I felt. And like by the end of the year, New Year's, I felt amazing. And I'm like, I never want to drink again because I never want to feel like that shit again. I never want to eat all the stuff I was eating because I never, ever want to feel as bad as I felt. I feel 20 years younger. I have so much energy. I feel like I can do anything at this point. Like I can create anything I want if I would just get out of my way. So then I asked my husband and I have been talking about the lifestyle for the last year. Lifestyle is a word to encompass, I'd say, alternate relationships. So non-monogamy, swingers, swappers. I don't know I'm too new to the lifestyle to know all the terminology. But part of the 2-year process is looking at repetitive patterns in my life. And one of them is my weight loss, my ups and downs, my depression, anxiety, battles, my battle with food, work, corporation, like just getting another job. We find leaving this company and just going to another company. Why should I do that? Just to be in the same boat in 10 years. And the other one was my relationship and the pattern there. Because at this point, I thought, well, maybe marriage or whatever that is that we're trying to fit into, I don't fit into. And so I've been on this journey to find out, what is right for me. And it's definitely not monogamy. So 424 play comes from a personal project, I guess, and the fact that I'm 420 social and I'm a very sexual person, right? But alcohol and sex don't mix, right? Alcohol and sex for me, you want to do all the things that you fantasize about, but then they're all fucking blurred up and you're like, ugh. And you didn't feel it. You didn't have an orgasm. It fucking sucks. It blowed ass. No pun intended. So now I want to do those things that I fantasize about, and I want to do it consciously and enjoy every moment of it. And cannabis is a great partner to enhance sex. My overall vision of 424 play is a place to experience cannabis and sex, and at the comfort level that you choose. So I see this as translating into an experience or a party where people are able to have 420 or cannabis is the center focus of the party. I've been creating those just 420 social parties because for some people, their recreational is 420. It's not alcohol. And just because I choose not to have alcohol doesn't mean I shouldn't have a choice for a recreational use. So I like to have social get-togethers or experiences where 420 is the focus. Yes, there's alcohol, but it's not the main focus, and people are open to smoke and consume as they see, right? We have vaporizers for in the house, so it's not smoking in the house. We have dab bars, people running those, and then we've got the smoking area, and then edibles as well, so that they can experience with cannabis, and then they have the party styles. We'll have music, and we'll have lights setting the mood of the ambiance. We'll have munchies. Sometimes we'll have infused like dipping sauces to go. Nothing heavy, just, something to keep this energy for the night. Body painters, the mood strikes, dancing. We'll have models there, either demonstrating, new devices or maybe some sexy lingerie, or maybe they'll be tied up and some ribbon as they walk around. It's a place for people to come and be openly flirtatious, sexual. Doesn't necessarily mean it goes all the way to play. When we talk about play, that means, play could be touching. Play doesn't have to be full-on intercourse. Soft play. There's soft play and hard play. Yeah, it's a place where couples can come and maybe entertain or flirt with maybe fantasies they've been thinking about, maybe a threesome or not. I tell you, when Willie and I first started going to the parties, super nervous. Like the first time I was watching people have sex, I was so uncomfortable I could hardly stay in the room. But I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, so when we went home from the very first time, I finally told Willie we were going to a party and we were going to figure out if this is playing a key in my personal growth, which then will hopefully, grow or help our relationship. But our sex life was improving leaps and bounds. Just coming home from those parties, it was like amazing. It was like sex almost back to when we first started dating. But we still have our ups and downs. Cue cards. Well, there you have it. That was pretty personal. But that's my beginning story of 424 play, where you can come experience cannabis, intimacy. Yeah, come check out our next 424 play experience. Check our website out, www.420 spelled out, TWENTY, 4 play.com, because we are 420 and we are for play. So I'm interested to hearing your story. I divulged some of my story. These are things that I've been shameful and feel guilty for over my life, and I'm releasing those things. So if you have some balls or have some titties, because I love titties, and come down and talk to me on 424 Play, be my guest and tell your story only on the Cannabis Community Project, right here at 3835 Elm Street, Denver, Colorado, at the Dank Studios, and it always smells amazing. Until next time, keep playing 420 style.
such seems like they after me. That's a conspiracy. Don't laugh at me, just laugh at me. Ha 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 ha. Who are you when I am proud of me? Monogamy. Open the blinds or open your minds, let the light shine. Peace and love to the ones who don't show love. Hope your heart grows some. I'ma roll some, burning like these memories. You might have switched up. Not enough to call you an enemy. I don't really call you anything. Global warming, talk about a waste of energy. I only have one enemy. He used to be a friend of mine. That enemy is me. Me. All my mirrors broken from disappointment. Watch my feet when you walk through the door. Shattered glass on the floor, and it's quick to draw blood, blood on the blood, on the blood.
Things I can't do to keep at bay. Love is the light skin, darkness away. Things I can't do to keep at bay. Love is the light skin, darkness away.
They say things happen for a reason. Is it only preaching or is it what you believe in? Is the one you pray to a demon or are we dreaming? Doubting what we seeing or is it all a plan? I say we leave our footprints in the sand. Hold my hand, no looking back unless you wanna backtrack. Gotta stay tacked, don't fall back in the trap. Misery will attack, our dreams becoming real. Just gotta stay up on the path.